Dear students, every day is a new beginning. And as we embark on this journey of success and knowledge, let us remember to work today so as to improve our tomorrow. Success is not by chance, it is by choice. What we hear as overnight success actually took 20 years. So hang on to that thought while I explain the principles of Taylor.
Taylor's principles. Taylor is called the father of scientific management, and he has given us 4 principles. Let's start with the first one. The first principle is science, not rule of thumb. Taylor believed that everything should be done scientifically and nothing should be done by hit and trial. Right from selecting a worker to do the work till the final goods are made, everything should be done scientifically. For example, we may be making tea in our houses. Now, every time we make tea, the taste is different. Why? Because we just make it by what we say is andaja. But he said that cannot be done in business. So if you're making a product and the end result of the product is different every time, then it will not be able to fetch the price you want. For example, you're making chocolate. So people like your chocolate and they buy it. Next time when they buy the chocolate, the flavor is different. Maybe they'll buy it again and again, but after some time they'll stop buying it because the flavor that they're looking for in the chocolate is not there. So why is it? Because you did not use everything properly. That means you did not follow a scientific method of doing it. You did not keep a benchmark or standards for everything that you did. And therefore, every time the chocolate was made, the taste was different. That is why he stressed that everything to be done in an organization should be done scientifically. So these are the points. First of all, he said there's one best method of doing the job, and that method should be adopted by everybody to increase efficiency. Second, he said whatever method you're using, you should study it and analyze it properly so that you use only the best method of doing the job. Then again, he suggested work study for this. Now, work study is one of the techniques that were developed by Taylor. And then he said, if you use this method, do everything scientifically, then it will lead to a lot of saving of human energy as well as time and material. And these days, the use of internet is a very good example of how you can control everything that is going around you by the use of internet. Today, if your goods are being made in South India and you are staying in North India, then through the use of internet, you can actually keep an eye on what it is being done. You don't have to wait till the final product is made and then you see how it is made. You can check each and every step of what the product is being made. Therefore, he said everything should be done scientifically and not just by the rule of thumb. The second principle was harmony, not discord. Taylor said that there are 2 categories of people working in an organization, the workers and the managers, and they're almost always at loggerhead with each other. The managers feel that the workers don't do the work, they just want the salary, they are falling sick, etc. And the workers feel that we are the ones who are slogging in the factory and the entire amount of profit goes to the managers. Actually, both of them might be talking about the same thing, but they're looking at it from their viewpoint. For example, if I hold my hand like this and I tell you that I'm looking at head, I'm holding a coin and I tell you I'm looking at head, and you are looking at it from that side and you are saying it's tail. So we are looking at the same coin, but our perspective is different. So I may keep on saying it's head and you may keep on saying it is tail, though we are looking at the same coin. Similarly with the management and the workers. So both are talking about the same thing. If the workers want the salary to increase, then if they'll produce more, the salary will increase. And if they will produce more, there'll be more profit and the management will be able to pay more salaries. So he said that there's a need for mental revolution, which is also called bi-mental revolution. He said that the management should change their attitude towards the workers and the workers should change their attitude towards the management. Now, these are the points. First of all, he believed that there's a class conflict between the managers on one hand and the workers on the other. Then he emphasized there has to be complete harmony. If there's no harmony, harmony means mitrata. So between them, then the work will not be done. If you think that other person is exploiting you, then how will you put in your 100%? Then for this, he advocated mental revolution. Go into the shoes of the other person and see what is their work, what are they doing? And to bring about this mental revolution, he suggested that the management should share the gains, if any, with the workers. Now, every organization makes certain amount of normal profit. So he said, whatever you make over and above the normal profit, share some part of it with the workers. So if you're sharing some part of your profit with the workers, then whatever work the workers are doing, they're getting a part of the profit also. So they will be motivated to work hard. So if they are getting a part of the profit, then they will not threaten to go on strike. They will work hard because they know that a part of the profit is going to them also. And at the same time, the workers should not threaten to go on strike. If the managers are sharing the gains with the workers, then on the part of the workers, they should not keep on threatening to go on strike for every small thing. And if this is done, then he said there can be prosperity for the employer, and in the prosperity of the employer lies the prosperity of the both the employer as well as employee. So he says if the employees are prosperous, then the employer will also be prosperous. So one cannot be prosperous without the other, vice versa. And he also advocated the Japanese work culture. In the Japanese work culture, they have a paternalistic style of management where the management is actually father figure to the workers, and the workers, if they're on strike, they just wear a black badge on their sleeves and they go and work even more because they want to show the support towards the management. And they will not sit outside on dharna when they are on strike. So they will support the management, but they wear a black badge telling the management that, see, we are on strike and this is a problem, please look into it. So this was the second principle, harmony, not discord. Then the third principle was cooperation, not individualism. He said you should not only think about yourself, you should think of the entire organization. Cooperation should replace competition. Now, in an organization, they have different departments. So let us say the marketing department wants to increase sales. So they're offering 10% discount. But the finance manager says, don't offer 10% discount, offer 5% discount. Why? Because if you offer 10% discount, then the profit will be less and we have to show more profit. So these departments are at loggerheads. They're only thinking about their own department. They're not thinking of the organization as a whole. So if you keep on thinking only about yourself, then maybe you might succeed. One of them might succeed, but the organization will not. So therefore, he advocated cooperation, not individualism. The points are cooperation, not individualism. There should be complete cooperation between labor and management. So we have studied that before in the last point also, no harmony, not discord. So he was talking about labor and the managers. And this principle is actually an extension of that principle itself. Then he said there should not be competition, but only cooperation amongst them. And then he also suggested that in case anybody gives a very valid suggestion or constructive suggestion, then that person should be rewarded. For example, a labor suggested that instead of giving us a 1 hour break in between the schedule, give us 2 half-an-hour break. So that helps us better and our productivity will increase. So the organization tried it, the managers tried it, and actually the productivity increased. So for such a constructive suggestion, the worker should be rewarded. So that will bring about cooperation. And then he also said, Taylor also said that there should be equal division of work between the workers and the management. The manager should not give the work to the workers and go and sit in his AC room because he shares the responsibility with the workers. So he has to be there with the workers all the time, guiding them so that the workers feel that we are working as a unit. So there will be cooperation and not just individualism. And then the fourth principle that he gave was development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. He said everybody who wants to join an organization wants to rise. If a person joins as a clerk, he wants to retire as a head clerk at least, if not an officer. So everybody wants to increase their efficiency and rise to the highest post. So the management should make sure that everybody gets that. Now, how do you go about it? You can give them training. First of all, select them scientifically because he believed in science. So every person should be selected scientifically. Then give them training so that they are best prepared to do the job. Then give them the job they're best suited for. Maybe a person is suited for a physical job or a mental job. So give them job according to their own liking. So if they are able to do the job that of their own liking, then definitely they'll do it the best. And this will give rise to prosperity. So the points are, first of all, Taylor always said that worker selection should be optimum. And then once they're selected scientifically, then they should be given training. If they're given training, they will learn the best method of how to do the job. And then each person should be given the job according to his mental or physical capabilities. Then if they're able to increase the efficiency because they're doing the job that they want to do, then they will be able to produce more and earn more. And this will result in the increase in efficiency and prosperity of both the company as well as the worker. So these were the 4 principles advocated by Taylor.
I hope this video has helped you understand Taylor's principles better. I'll be coming up with more videos later on. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and please do take very good care of yourself. Thank you.